Let's turn back to Bill Lee. And Bill, a wage price spiral is the kind of thing that sounds extreme, but all it really means is that, to Steve's point, because people are earning higher wages, they can take higher prices, and it's hard to find something that slows that down.
Absolutely. And I think we have to make sure we understand what Chair Powell means by a very strong labor market. Yes, there are a lot of vacancies out there, without a doubt, because a lot of people have quit their jobs because they think they've upgraded their skills and they can find better jobs. And so what we have right now is a huge turnover, huge churn in that labor market. And so in normal times, we call it a huge amount of search unemployment. That is, people are still looking for jobs, and the mismatch of skills and job openings is really critical to characterizing this labor market. Is the demand really there, or is it just that people are not in the right places? And I think the latter is the right answer, because right now people think they have skills and firms are not hiring them because they actually don't have the skills. With a huge shortage of labor and huge wage increases are in the low-level elementary startup positions because people have left them and no one wants to come into them because they think they've got better skills than they actually have.
What is the Ukrainian war likely to do to inflation globally, number one, and number two, to the economies of Europe and the West?
Well, Tyler, I think the one thing that's without a doubt is it's going to make it much more expensive to eat, to use your car, to any kind of transportation, energy-related stuff. That's going to really reduce the spending power of every consumer around the world. In Europe, because it's so tied to trade with China and trade with Russia and dependency of Russia for energy, the prospects of the European economies recovering from this is going to be much less than before, because we have not been able to fill the gap for the absence of Russian energy and Russian gas. Our gas supply, liquefied natural gas supplies just aren't enough to get there because we're not producing enough.
And you look at Ukraine and you see that it is one of the largest world exporters of wheat and grains. And if that is interrupted in any way to China or to Russia or anywhere around the world, that's going to add to food price inflation. Let me ask a kind of odd question. When prices go up through inflation, let's set aside energy for now because we know it can be very volatile, and we know food prices can be very volatile. But when prices go up, do they tend to stick at that higher level? I mean, I don't think people are going to have their wages cut.
Well, the real question is, the core inflation, once the prices go up, are they going to stay there?
Right.
Well, that's fine because the inflation rate goes to zero, right? But the question is, will it continue to go up? And I think one thing the Fed can address on the elements of core inflation would be rents. Real estate prices are going berserk because people are just buying like crazy. They can get mortgage money really cheaply, and it's still very liquid out there. So if the Fed were to use its balance sheet more aggressively and target the amount of liquidity withdrawals to reduce the amount of liquidity that's available for these overheated sectors, that would go a long way to reducing core inflation pressures. And that's what's needed to solve our ongoing problem with inflation. When people say it's 7% inflation, it's many ways backward looking, because looking forward, your question is really relevant. Will prices stick? Will the high rents be there, or are we going to have a lot of vacancy rates in the apartments?